Hello and welcome again to Hypnotherapy Reflections and From Training to Practice. Today we have the lovely Eniko with us, and Eniko qualified as a Solution Focused Hypnotherapy and trained at our school in Nottingham. But we're going to explore her journey, her unique insights, both personal and those gained through CPHT, and the powerful impact of Solution Focused Hypnotherapy. Get ready for an inspiring conversation highlighting the transformative power of solution-focused hypnotherapy. So, welcome, Eniko. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eniko. Hi.
So, Eniko, where do you practice from? What do you do?
So I've studied in Nottingham and I finished, and I want to say I finished in 2022, but I can't even remember now. Is that 20? Am I correct there? Even
Yeah, probably, yeah, it's a couple of years. So
yeah.
where are you based? What's your practice name called? Things like that.
So I run Altered Mind Hypnotherapy and I'm still based in Nottingham, mainly online, but nowadays I'm offering face-to-face if it's needed. But yeah, I try to build the practice around mainly online. So.
Excellent. So one of the questions I want to know is what motivated you to train as a solution-focused hypnotherapist? Because I know you'd already studied at university, you're fully qualified in psychology and counselling. So what motivated you then train again or add to your training as a solution-focused hypnotherapist?
Well, those methodologies are great. However, I found it was something still missing because I've had hypnotherapy in my early 20s to dealing with some issues. And I knew that approach was really, really helpful. So I thought I just wanted to work with people and directly help them. And I feel like that was the best way to do that. So to give something back if I could.
Oh. Did you find that the training you did at university gave you that underpinning knowledge?
I feel like it gave me a lot of understanding. So I've always had an interest in the brain and how it works, and I find it fascinating in overall. So it gave me a lot of understanding, but some of the methodologies I feel like they are a bit focusing on the issues. And learning with the CPHT showed me still an extra set of learning about the brain and how it works and what happens if we focus on the negatives, and then what happens if we focus on the positives and the solutions.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So what did you do before you become a therapist, whether that's within counseling world or within the solution focus world? What did you used to do?
well, beforehand, I've worked in a beauty world. I've had a beauty business for over 10 years, and that's where I've kind of also always worked with people.
I'm
And it
sorry,
was
I say
nice.
peoply.
Yeah, we're very people oriented, so I would say yes.
Yeah, that's excellent. So what did you do to discover or to choose CPHT? How did you find CPHT? What helped you decide?
Well, I think the reason picked CPHT because I found CPHT online, just on Google. I've searched obviously hypnotherapy training, and they seem to be top tier, and then seemed like they've had a lot of positive feedback from previous students, and they seem to have obviously because it's nationwide, they seem to have a lot of just like experience. So I thought, why not?
It's interesting because you've worked as a beauty therapist, nail technician. You've then gone on to train in psychology and counselling. So how has what you learned at CPHT then shaped how you work with clients? Because you obviously are used to being around people and working with people.
So I think what differs with the CPHT training and hypnotherapy and solution focused hypnotherapy is the way that it explains beforehand, before even starting therapy with anyone, the way we explain what we're gonna do, how the brain works, and it makes it really easy for everyone to understand.
Yeah.
I almost feel like 1/4 of a job is already done once you understand
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening in your brain, and then you just have to do the work. But it's much easier to do when you do what's the goal you're working for.
So has that helped that understanding of the brain? And I call it neurotraining.
Mm.
We train our clients continually on how their brain works and how they respond to situations. Do you
Yeah.
think that, you know, from that solution perspective, do you think that's changed the way you work with people, the way you approach
Yeah,
work?
100%, because I would say that I still make sure, so I've learned obviously beforehand as well to
Mm.
make people feel heard and supported, but at the same time, now I know how to stay solution focused and amplify their strengths and resources rather than focusing on their issues.
So again, you seem to be a bit of a lifelong learner. You've done quite a lot of knowledge-based training. How do you keep up with, you know, the world of neuroscience particularly is quite a fast-paced world. There's lots of changes, new discoveries. How do you keep abreast of that?
I mean, obviously, I always attend on supervisions and I really enjoy the group supervision. So, whereas I think one-to-one has got its place as well, but with the group supervisions with you, it helps that we always see different scenarios which we don't necessarily bump into yet, but
Mm.
we can ask
Mm.
questions, and it's almost like everyone has got an answer for everyone's question.
Yeah, yeah,
Just and obviously, I really like to read about latest researches
yeah,
and just whatever comes up and
yeah,
attend workshops. So it's just kind
yeah.
of like
So it's just
continuous.
always ongoing sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
So one of the things I know about you is that you're a mother. You've
Yes.
got a youngster.
Yes.
Um,
4 years old. Yes.
how old?
4.
4. I thought he was older. He's 4. So how do you balance that work-life balance? How do you manage to be a great mum, as I understand you are, and a great therapist? And how do you do that?
I feel like it's all about boundaries and setting me time. And when
Mm,
I say me time, it can be just for me or just for my family,
mm,
but making sure that is separated. Otherwise, I feel like when it gets a bit overwhelming, and I don't think you can be 100%
yeah.
and give your full attention to either of them if you don't set some
So,
time.
so when you set your time,
Yes.
what self-care stuff do you do? How do you
Oh, I love
keep
exercising.
yourself
That's
grounded?
I love exercising, but also like sleeping. I do love sleeping.
The
So
sleep is such a vital part of
that's-
well-being.
it's almost like our superpower, isn't
Yeah.
it? But also like to spend a lot of time with my friends. And yeah, I'm just trying to pick up new hobbies nowadays.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to do some new painting, and I've started back on reading because now I find the time for it as well.
What's the one thing you're doing right now?
I'm going on a painting experience on Friday night,
Are
actually.
you?
Yes, so that's the newest one.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's good. I can just imagine you with big pots of paint throwing them at the wall.
I mean, I hope they give me at least a brush. That would be easy to work with.
So going back to being in that world of hypnotherapy, how have you seen, you know, what have you seen when you're working with your clients or even in yourself, what's really been like wow factor, where you've just seen amazing outcomes for people?
I have had quite a few of nice
Yeah.
outcomes. Most of my clients get better, but I've had quite a few where they are like, when you just like stop for a minute and it's like, wow, that is big. One of my favorite one was probably it was a gentleman who was in late 30s and went back to university, and he just came for exam stress, which we know it's a thing, and just helped him through that. And then fifth session, around the fifth session, he just it just comes out of the blue that says, "Oh, that I've just stopped experiencing flashbacks." So yeah, and then his PTSD seems to right. So I thought, wow, I didn't know he had PTSD in the first place. So
Because we're
that's a
sleeping
go away.
and that's the massive difference when you can see that. So we see those outcomes all the time. You know, we see amazing stuff, but then, you know, I know you do your networking and you're interactive and very community led. How do you deal with those skepticism? It's what people thought you're the misconceptions of the world.
Well, I'd always try to approach these conversations with, well, you have to say open-minded. And even though you don't always want to listen to it. But I think if you listen and you just hear what's the concerns, because often I feel like these misconceptions come from, I've got an interest in this, but somehow I don't believe in it. So that's a concern. So I always listen, and then I always try and give evidence-based answers and explanations. And obviously the biggest one I always say, that you lose control and then you can be made to do everything or anything. And I try and explain it, that what kind of real life scenarios when we are doing it. And so, for example, what we use as well with the driving. When you drive, you don't lose control. Otherwise, you would be crashing to the first wall you come into, but you don't. And it's just, it makes them understand it much easier.
So that's a massive thing. Have you found, since you trained a couple of years ago, that it's made any difference to you as a person or a parent or a friend or anything like that?
I think what I've learned, that, as what I've already said before, is setting boundaries. And also what I've learned, that putting yourself first as a person, it doesn't make you selfish. It's just the way you use it, putting yourself first. Because when you prioritizing yourself, you can actually help people or be around people effectively. Otherwise, you just lose yourself in the process.
So it's really helped you be stronger in yourself, those boundaries, which is lovely to hear. I mean, some of the questions I ask is about, when you was training, did you feel that the course, you've been to university, you've done other workshops, how did you find the way you were supported and worked, whether it was from the lecturers or from the group, but also was there sort of support of how to then step to the next level, how to set up your business, things like that? And I know some of that you was already doing.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I've had a huge help from you, because I've had a phobia of buttons. And you cured me. I don't have a phobia of buttons anymore. And I don't feel like I've got any other phobias. So that was
I
life-changing.
forgot I did that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. And that was life-changing. I'm really happy with that one. So, but on the training side, it was, I found it really good, that it was obviously very much so academically and personally, we were supported from our peers and yourselves as well. And it was just like all of our lecturers were always available when we needed help. We could get in touch, whether it was between obviously the lectures, and it was just it helped you be more confident in your skills, because if someone you bumped into during the week, and then you will forget it by the weekend, but you could just send a message, and I always personally got a quick response. So I was very happy with that.
Did you find that that was always available, but actually you then went on to be able to know what happens next?
Yeah, but obviously in the beginning, it kind of like you use it as an anchor, and then later on you just, oh, I remember what was being said last time. So it helps you building the confidence, and then just being able to do the practice. And because I always feel like if you have got a safety net, you're always gonna feel much more capable of doing things, because then you know that it's something to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
More trying it more willingly.
So you sound like you love being a hypnotherapist, but what do you find most rewarding about your work?
It's just seeing people change, and being able to help them, and then it's just overall. Well, and also I really do like the fact that we get really calm in the end when we put them in hypnosis. We calm down.
Yeah, we benefit too every time.
Yeah, but helping them and witnessing huge changes, and then they are achieving their goals, and then whatever their goals are, most of the clients are getting there eventually, and then it's just.
Yeah, it's interesting because we get people contact us from all walks of life, whether they are working on a building site, whether they're nurses or police officers or teachers, all sorts of people come to consider changing accountants, financial managers. So it appears that one shoe doesn't fit all, but how would you advise if somebody said to you, wow, what you do when you network, you said earlier that you was going to networking later. So you're there and they go, oh, I want to do what you do. What advice would you give someone?
I would always say, and then that's kind of my key, I always just stay open-minded and show empathy, but not too much. And be curious. Because
So be curious.
yeah.
If they wanted to go, yeah, but I want to now train as a hypnotherapist, what would you say? Don't do it, run for the hills, or would you
Oh
say?
no, I would absolutely say do it, because it's not just helping others, it's going to help yourself and your people who surround you as well. It is absolutely it's a life changer, it's a game changer, because you're going to see things from the positive aspects of life, and then it kind of like crawls into your life without you realizing it. If you're a little bit letting it happen, it will just happen. And it's
And
interesting.
of course, you're then talking about training with CPHT. That's that positive, the solution focus, and you've done
Yeah.
training in a
And I
whole.
also found with CPHT, what I found that it was the best way to train is that it was a theoretical and practical training at the same time. So it was a blend approach, and then I think that helps you to be to most confident in straight away transferring your skills to running your own practice from training. That I think that helps the most.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
CPHT has that.
Experience you get all the way through
Yes.
really builds that skill set
Yes.
and just a knowledge set.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So I know you asked me what questions we have, and I told you, but there's one I've kept back.
Oh God.
Ask you, and so and I know you're not British by birth, and so this might be giving me a completely different answer to what I'm used to.
Okay.
But if you could have a hypnotherapy session, you could have a client
Okay.
of any historic figure.
Okay.
Who would it be and why?
Oh, do you know what? The answer might be sort of Hitler.
Wow, tell me why.
I just feel like I've done some in my past. I've done some reading about him, and obviously what kind of in know and why the way he approached life. I wonder if that could have been changed if
Yeah,
if he was in therapy with the right therapist at
yeah.
the time.
So you'd put all your skill set trying to change what's
Well, I
perceived.
mean, I wouldn't want to change him afterwards, but beforehand,
Yeah,
before he
yeah.
did that, and
So you'd like to get in 1930s Hitler, 1920s Hitler.
yeah,
Wow. That's the
yeah.
first one, I'm sure. We've had a couple of
Might have
people on
been.
it, but we've had a couple of people going, oh, when I've asked this question
Yeah,
of a few people, and it's not always who I think it is. And sometimes, and it's interesting because when you're thinking about doing therapy,
yeah.
there's no point working with someone who's already amazing. You want to work with somebody who you could change the course of everything if you
Sure.
can help someone. So,
Yeah.
fantastic. So to finish off, this is your turn to tell us all about where you work from, who you are, how they can get hold of you, social media, website, whatever. So do a very quick advert.
So I'm running, as I said, Altered Mind Hypnotherapy in Nottingham, and you can find me on Google as alteredmindhypnotherapy.com, or on the same name on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So please just click on it and have a look, have a wander through. So thank you.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. And I know you're a very busy lady. And good luck with everything.
Thank
And
you.
I'll get this out on YouTube, and I'll put links in to
Sure.
the stuff on social media so people can find you just by clicking on it. So
All
thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you so much.
See you
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.